Okay, meeting's about to start, so just to let people in, attendees, there you go. Okay, so what we're going to be looking at today is we're going to be looking at your Picasso written work. I have given you several videos now explaining of how to use the annotation notes and how to use the critical writing and what words to use. But I think we've even looked through some sketchbooks. What I'm going to do now is look at a very, very simple writing framework. So if you are stuck with this, we can sort of look through it and give us an easy path into writing about an artist. You can do this, on a computer digitally and send it to me, or you can do it in your book if you've got your book. I do like the work done in the book, but it's no point is there a problem with you working on a computer. We can cut and paste it out and put it nicely into your book later. I do like the book to be themed a little bit. So if you're working on Picasso, maybe the background can have a little bit of the colours used by Picasso spread in the background, or some little drawings or shapes to show it's Cubist. But for now, we're going to look at this written framework that I've devised for you. Okay, so here's my sort of Picasso written framework here. So first of all, great to have the title Picasso, very obvious there. Writing about him, maybe copy his font of writing. I have provided you with sheets, so you should have them in your folders if you've got them. If not, easy to look up online and find Picasso's signature. It's very distinct, and it makes a good starting point on a page to announce this is Picasso, this is who we're talking about. So onto that, there we have a picture of Picasso there, Pablo Picasso, and a simple bit of writing about who Picasso was. Okay, well, obviously he's an artist. He's very important to us because of his Cubist work here today, because we're looking at Cubism. But he's probably one of the most influential and famous artists of the 20th century. In fact, they call him the father of modern art. And he is hailed as a genius by most people that witnessed his work. So looking here, who's Picasso? So get me some information on him, write about it. Please do not ever cut and paste or copy directly from a text. Change and adapt it, find the information you want from it and write that down. Give me facts about him. Where was he born? What was his name? If you actually look up his name, it's fantastic. He's got one of the most interesting names ever, because it doesn't just stop at Pablo and Picasso. Believe me, there's a lot in between. So what I want you to find out, give me some interesting facts about Picasso and who he was, and what made him such a great artist. Maybe talk briefly about some of his other periods. He had a pink period, a blue period, he worked in sculpture. Find that out for me and write it down. It doesn't have to be long, but maybe we're looking at a page dedicated to Pablo Picasso and who he was. The next thing we're looking at is Cubism. Obviously, Cubism is the subject that we are really looking at here. So what is Cubism? You can look at who else created Cubism with Picasso. He wasn't on his own. There was a guy called Georges Braque that created probably before Picasso. Picasso joined him, and together they pushed this idea of Cubism onto the art world. And so tell me about Cubism, what it is, when it derived, what effect has it had on art since, and get some photos and images of Cubist work to place up on there so that you got examples of it as you talk about it. Maybe if you're talking about Georges Braque, maybe find a little picture of Georges Braque or picture his work so you can distinguish how he was different to Picasso. Again, try and fill a page on what is Cubism. You have some images there as well, but talk about descriptively what it was, when it existed, and who else was involved in it. Here we have here, I've got some examples of Cubist work here, from the simplistic ones here of the band playing, the marionettes, I think it's called, to his more collage work, where he literally would have cut out pieces of paper and stick them down, to the crying or weeping woman, one of his most famous Cubist works of art, showing a woman in distress. And I think it really works very well for that particular one. So you can choose any of those, or you can find a painting like this. So here we go. For example, we've got this as a picture. Describe this picture. Now, look, it can be any of Picasso's pictures. I'm going to use this one as an example. So describe this painting. So how are we going to describe it? Well, describe the colours. What can you see in it? I can see the sort of violin shape coming down here. I can see parts of a musical instrument there. There are grapes up here. Now he's taken the musical instrument like you have, he's taken it from a different angle, so it's coming out at a different angle than to what we're used to. You see, looking at it from the back and the front at the same time. Okay, and there's also other little clues of musical instruments there in the background. So you describe it, say what you see. Once you've given a good description, and don't just write one sentence, you know, this is GCSE work. I want you to really describe the colours. I want you to describe the squares and how it's broken up. Look at the other sheets, the other work videos and sheets that I've given you about how to critique work of art, what words you can use to explore art and to describe it. All those sheets have been given to you before, and the videos are there to talk you through them. So use some of those words to describe this piece of art. And then talk about, do you like it? And if you do like it, what do you like about it? Or what do you dislike about it? Okay? And the next one, then, do a drawing of a piece of art you've chosen. So the piece of art you liked by Picasso and you've chosen to draw it and colour it and draw it as well as you can. This gives the examiner and myself some insight in the fact of whether you've understood what you're looking at. It's very difficult to draw Picasso's work, but if you draw it well, it'll look great. I've given some of you now photographs of your oil pastel cubist piece. If you've got that, now you need to stick that in your book and write next to it what makes it a cubist piece. Okay, why it's got similarities to Picasso's cubist work, and also how did you use the oil pastel? And what methods did you have to use to blend the colours together? And you can also talk about whether you enjoyed the experience or what you found difficult about it or what you found easy about it. Okay, and also you're going to be evaluating your others with your monoprint or your batik or your mixed media if you've completed them. Okay, do those evaluations. So then at the end of it, when you talk about these evaluations, what makes you work similar to Picasso, like I said? Why is it a cubist drawing or painting? And how have you made the colours blend together with either the inks that you've used on the monoprint or on the batik? Okay, and then tell me what you disliked about the process of making these things. If you complete all of those tasks, then you have pretty much completed your Cubism and Picasso work. I know many of you are still working on the monoprints and the batiks and the mixed media in school. If you've taken your folder home, there's no reason why you can't continue working on your mixed media piece. And there's no reason at all why you can't finish the written work on Picasso and Cubism to a very high standard. Obviously, leave spaces for the evaluations of the monoprint, or the batik, or the mixed media if you have not completed them. But I do believe that all of you have now completed your oil pastel picture, so you can write an evaluation on that. If you are fully up to date and you have done everything and you're sitting there feeling very happy and smug with yourselves, well, your next task is to do a few drawings in your book of still lives that you found, because the next piece of work we're doing after we complete the Cubist section is we're looking at still life and looking at an artist called Paul Cézanne. Okay, he's an impressionist painter, and he was also known as the godfather of modern art and inspired Picasso and Cubism greatly. So we're going to be looking at that work in this lesson, in the lessons to come, sorry, after Christmas. Straight after we finish Cubism, we're moving on to Paul Cézanne, and we're going to be setting up a still life and all drawing it. But in the meantime, practice drawing them and use some unusual media maybe to colour in your still lives. You know, look at my other videos based on unconventional media, maybe use food colouring, maybe use coffee, but have a little play around and create some great still lives for me to look at and go back. Please share your work with me. If you've done any work, take photographs of it, or if it's done digitally, share it with me so I can look at it and give you some advice on how to improve it over the next week or so. Okay, guys, get working, enjoy your art, and good luck.